3 weeks ago, a woman named Patricia sent me a video that made my hands shake. She's standing in her bathroom, phone propped on the counter, and she's trying to get off the toilet. Trying. For 47 seconds, she pushes, grunts, repositions her hands. Finally, she makes it up, breathing hard, and looks at the camera with tears in her eyes. This is what 75 looks like when nobody warned you. I'm a doctor. I've studied movement patterns in aging adults for 28 years across 4 countries. And Patricia's video showed me something I see in my office 3 times a week. People who think they're aging normally until one random Tuesday when their body just stops cooperating. But here's what made me create this video today. Patricia wasn't always like this. I found her medical records. 4 years ago, she ran a 5K. 4 years. That's 48 months from running 3 miles to struggling with a toilet. And the devastating part? She told me she felt fine the entire time it was happening. You probably think you'd notice if your body was breaking down that fast. You exercise sometimes. You can still do everything you need to do. You feel basically the same as 5 years ago. That's exactly what Patricia thought. And that's exactly why I need you to do something right now, before you hear another word of this video. Stand up. Right now. I'm serious. Stand up from wherever you're sitting and pay attention to how you do it. Did you use your hands to push off? Did you rock forward first to build momentum? Did you have to try twice? Because the way you just stood up revealed something about your body that most doctors will never tell you. It predicted whether you'll be independent at 80 or whether you'll need help getting dressed. A study from University College London followed 800 people for 12 years. They filmed each person standing from a chair at age 65. Just that, standing up. The people who used their hands to push off were 4 times more likely to be in assisted living by age 77. 4 times, from one simple movement. But it gets worse. The same study found that people who couldn't stand up from the floor without using their hands had a 6 times higher chance of dying within the next 6 years. Not falling, not getting injured, just the inability to get up from the floor predicted death. How is that possible? Let me tell you what's actually happening inside your body right this second. And I'm not talking about some vague aging process. I'm talking about specific, measurable changes that started the day you turned 60 and have been accelerating ever since. Most people don't know this is happening until something breaks. A hip, a knee, their independence. Right now, as you're watching this, your type 2 muscle fibers are disappearing. These are your power fibers, the ones that let you catch yourself when you trip, lift a suitcase into the overhead bin, get up from a low chair without thinking about it. After 60, you lose these fibers 3 times faster than your regular muscle. A researcher at Ball State University measured this in cadavers. Don't worry, I'll spare you the details. But what he found was shocking. An average 70-year-old has lost 60% of their type 2 muscle fibers. 60%. These aren't the muscles that get you through a normal day. These are the muscles that save you during the 1 second when everything goes wrong. Michael learned this at 71. He was walking his dog, same route he'd walked for 15 years. The dog saw a squirrel and jerked the leash. Michael's body started to fall sideways. His brain sent the signal, step to the side, catch yourself. But his leg muscles couldn't fire fast enough. He went down hard. Broke his wrist, cracked 2 ribs. 6 weeks of recovery from a split-second moment his body used to handle automatically. Before I go further, do me a favor. Hit that like button and comment below where you're watching this from. I want to know how many people are discovering this information before it's too late instead of after. Are you watching from somewhere warm? Somewhere cold? Just type your location. It helps more people see this. Now, back to what's happening in your body. The type 2 muscle fiber loss is just the beginning. There's something else, something that starts happening at 62 for most people, and it's so subtle that you'll dismiss it as just getting older. Your nervous system starts forgetting how to talk to your muscles. Think of your nerves like telephone wires connecting your brain to your legs. When you're young, those wires have thick insulation called myelin. Signals travel at 70 meters per second. At 70, that insulation has degraded. Signals now travel at 45 meters per second. That's a 36% slowdown. You know what happens in a 36% slowdown? You don't. That's the problem. Your brain adjusts. It compensates. It hides the degradation from you so effectively that you think everything's normal. Until the dog jerks the leash. Until you step on uneven pavement. Until you reach for something and your hand arrives a quarter second too late. Rebecca was 68 when she called me, frustrated. "Doctor, I keep dropping things. Cups, my phone, everything. My hands work fine. I don't understand what's happening." I tested her grip strength. Normal. Tested her hand coordination. Normal. Then I tested her reaction time from brain signal to hand response. It had degraded by 42% from where it should be. Her brain was sending the signal to grip. Her hands were receiving it. But the delay between hold this and holding it had stretched just long enough that objects slipped through. She wasn't dropping things because her hands were weak. She was dropping things because her nervous system was running on dial-up while life was happening at broadband speed. But here's what nobody in the medical community wants to admit. We've known how to fix this for 30 years. There are specific movements, specific training protocols that can reverse up to 60% of this decline. 60%. But they don't teach it in medical school because there's no prescription for it, no surgery, no pill, just movement patterns that most people find too simple to believe they work. I'm going to show you these movements in a minute, but first you need to understand the third thing that's happening. And this one is invisible until the day it suddenly isn't. Your brain is losing its internal map of where your body is in space. It's called proprioception, and it's the reason you can touch your nose with your eyes closed. Right now, without looking, you know exactly where your feet are, where your hands are, where your head is in relation to the rest of you. At 75, that map gets fuzzy. A study from the Netherlands measured this by having people walk through a doorway. Young adults can judge the width of a doorway and turn their shoulders appropriately without thinking. They tested seniors the same way. Average age, 73. 41% of them bumped their shoulders on the doorframe. They misjudged where their body was by 3 to 4 inches. 3 inches doesn't sound like much until you're walking downstairs and your brain thinks your foot is 3 inches lower than it actually is, or 3 inches higher. That's when you miss the step. That's when you grab for a railing that you think is closer than it is. That's when you fall. Janet fell down 7 stairs in her own house. She'd walked those stairs every single day for 22 years. She knew them, but her brain's map was wrong by 2 inches. 2 inches sent her to the hospital with a compressed vertebra. 2 months in a back brace, 6 months of physical therapy, all from 2 inches of misinformation inside her own nervous system. I tested Janet's proprioception after she recovered. I had her stand with her eyes closed and point her toe to touch a spot on the floor. She missed by 6 inches. I asked her how far off she thought she was. She said, maybe half an inch? Her brain was lying to her by a factor of 12. But we retrained her. And I'm going to show you exactly how, because this is the part that changes everything. Your brain is plastic. That's not a metaphor. Your neurons can form new connections at any age. A researcher at Harvard proved this by taking people average age 79 and teaching them to juggle. 79 years old. After 3 months, brain scans showed new neural pathways in the motor cortex. Your brain will adapt to whatever you ask it to do. The problem is most people stop asking. They stop challenging their balance, stop practicing coordination, stop doing anything that feels unstable. And the brain interprets that as, we don't need these skills anymore. Shut them down. Redistribute that energy elsewhere. This is why people who retire and sit on the couch decline so fast. It's not the sitting, it's the lack of challenge. Your brain needs problems to solve. When you remove all instability from your life, your brain removes your ability to handle instability. Then, when instability shows up uninvited, a wet floor, a curb you didn't see, you have nothing left to catch yourself with. David retired at 65, took it easy, watched TV, played some golf, felt fine. At 70, he went on a hike with his grandson. Nothing crazy, a nature trail, mostly flat. He stepped on a small rock, ankle rolled slightly, and he fell so hard he dislocated his shoulder. The paramedic who treated him said, "Sir, you fell like someone who's never fallen before. You didn't even try to catch yourself." That's what happens when you remove challenge. Your reflexes atrophy like muscles. David came to see me after 8 weeks of physical therapy. He was angry. Why didn't anyone tell me I needed to practice balance? I thought I was supposed to take it easy in retirement. I see this constantly. People think retirement means rest. It doesn't. Retirement means you now have time to prepare your body for the hardest decades of your life. The decades where your margin for error shrinks to nothing, where a small mistake has massive consequences. So let me show you what preparation looks like. not theory. Actual movements you can start today. These aren't exercises. Exercises are optional. These are assessments that become training. You test yourself, find where you're weak, and the test itself makes you stronger. First test. Sit on the floor. Legs crossed if you can, straight out if you can't. Now stand up. But here's the rule. Every time you use your hand to push off the floor, that's 1 point. Every time you use your knee, that's 1 point. Every time you use your forearm or your shin or any body part other than your feet, that's a point. A perfect score is 0. You sit, you stand, using only your legs. A study from Brazil followed over 2,000 people for an average of 6 years. They scored each person on this test. People who scored 0, perfect stand-up, had a 1% chance of dying in the next 6 years. People who scored 5 or higher had a 54% chance of dying in the same period. From one test, sitting and standing. Why is this so predictive? Because it measures everything at once: strength, balance, flexibility, motor planning, proprioception. It's not one skill, it's the integration of 10 skills. And integration is what fails first in aging. You might have strong legs and good balance separately, but if they can't work together seamlessly, you're vulnerable. Try it right now. Pause this video. Sit on the floor. Stand up. Count your points. If you scored 0, congratulations. You're in the top 15% of your age group. If you scored 1 or 2, you're average. 3 or higher, you have work to do. But here's the beautiful part. This test is also the training. Do it 3 times a day. Your score will improve within 2 weeks. Margaret scored 7 when she first tried. She needed both hands, both knees, had to roll to one side. She was 72 and terrified. "Dr. Chen, I can't do this, I'm too old." I told her the same thing I'm telling you. You're not too old. You're untrained. There's a difference. Margaret practiced every morning and every night. Sat down, stood up. For the first week, she still scored 7. Week 2, down to 6. Week 4, down to 4. 3 months later, she walked into my office and without saying a word, sat on the floor and stood up. 0 points. At 72. She cried. I cried. Her husband filmed it. Your body responds to demand at any age. Any age. The question is whether you're creating demand or avoiding it. Most people avoid it. They stop sitting on the floor because it's hard to get up, so they lose the ability entirely. Then one day they fall, and they can't get up, and that's when the emergency call happens. Second test. Stand on 1 foot. Sounds simple, but here's the measurement. You need to hold it for 10 seconds without wobbling, without your arms flailing, without your raised foot touching your standing leg. Just stand there, stable, like a flamingo. Can you do it? Right now? Try it. If you're under 60 and you can't hold this for 10 seconds, you're in trouble early. If you're over 70 and you can't do it for 5 seconds, your fall risk in the next year is 8 times higher than someone who can hold it for 30 seconds. 8 times. From this one simple test. Why? Because single leg balance is the foundation of walking. Every step you take is a single leg balance. When you walk, you're basically falling forward and catching yourself with the other leg, over and over. If you can't balance on one leg while standing still, you definitely can't balance on one leg while moving. You're walking on the edge of falling every single step. Thomas was 74. He could stand on one leg for about 2 seconds. He told me, "I'm fine. I walk every day. I've never fallen." 3 weeks later, he called me from the hospital. He tripped over his granddaughter's toy, broke his hip, surgery, rehab, 6 months to recover. All because his single leg balance was 2 seconds instead of 10. After he recovered, Thomas practiced every single day. Morning coffee, he'd stand on one leg. Brushing teeth, one leg. Waiting for the microwave, one leg. 6 months later, he could hold it for 25 seconds. He told me, "I feel younger than I did 5 years ago. I didn't know I'd been walking around unstable until I felt what stable was like." Third test, and this one scares people. Close your eyes and stand on 1 foot. If you can do this for even 3 seconds, you're exceptional. Most people over 70 fall over immediately. Why? Because balance isn't just physical. It's 3 systems working together: vision, inner ear, and proprioception. When you remove vision, the other two have to work harder. If you can't balance with your eyes closed, 2 of your 3 systems have already failed. You're balancing on vision alone, which means in the dark, on uneven ground, or anywhere you can't see clearly, you have nothing. You're one unexpected moment from the ground. Practice this next to a wall. Close your eyes, lift 1 foot, touch the wall when you wobble. Do this every day. Your inner ear will recalibrate. Your proprioception will sharpen. In 3 weeks, you'll feel the difference. Linda couldn't do this at all. Eyes closed, she fell over in under a second. We practiced, every day. Wall nearby for safety. After 5 weeks, she held it for 4 seconds. She called me, excited. "Doctor, I walked to the bathroom in the dark last night without turning on the light. Old me would have been terrified." These 3 tests measure your biological age better than your birth certificate. I've seen 60-year-olds who move like they're 80. I've seen 80-year-olds who move like they're 60. The difference isn't genetics, it's practice. Your body becomes what you ask it to be. So here's what you do today. Right after this video, test yourself on all 3. Sit to stand, single leg balance, eyes closed balance. Write down your scores. Do these 3 tests every single day. In 1 month, test again. Your scores will improve. And when your scores improve, your fall risk drops. Your independence extends. Your future changes. Patricia, the woman from the beginning, she started these tests 4 months ago. Last week she sent me another video. She's sitting on the floor playing with her great-grandson. Then she stands up. No hands. Smooth. Easy. She looks at the camera and says, "I thought this part of my life was over." It's not over. Your body is waiting for you to challenge it. Give it a reason to stay strong. Start today. Test yourself. Train yourself. The next 10 years of your life are being decided by what you do in the next 10 minutes. Don't let your body forget how to move. Remind it, every single day.